The following is a conversation. It has the features of any conversation, such as imperfectly expressed thoughts, ill-considered opinions, and the notions of several sleep-deprived brains. Try not to get your stethoscope in a twist about it.
It's our monthly Am I the Asshole episode. Clap your cheeks, everyone.
No. Woo! I'm not going to do that.
For reasons that might become clear, for today's episode, I did try to find some icons for the anus.
Oh, boy.
Which was worth a try, I thought. I didn't have high hopes. Because what would you use an anus icon?
A donut.
For?
Yeah, anus means ring in Latin. That's how
you could use that
donut
the flag from that episode of Community where they put an anus on their flag.
See why? That's a good idea. Why weren't you in my office when I was doing this at the last minute today? I did find a surprising number of anus icons, however.
Oh boy.
Which
Where were
means
you looking?
And a surprising number of those anus icons are premium icons, which means someone has made a determination that these are in some sort of demand.
These need to be behind. We must paywall the anus icons.
And I'm imagining the apps and the websites that have the anus icons in them, because I think that's the only reason you would need, except for my stupid purposes. Actually, now I don't want to imagine those apps and websites. I'm sorry.
Let's not.
Well, so, like, not only is it behind a paywall, but someone had to go through them and then individually determine.
Yeah, like, oh, this
premium.
is this is worthy.
Premium butthole.
That's a nice anus there. We gotta,
That's right.
gotta lock
Finally.
that one up.
Primo anus.
Finally, someone has come up with the proper anus.
I hope the
asshole
interviewees are
icon.
hearing this
Anus
conversation.
Meandering in the margins of medicine, it's the Shortcoat Podcast.
Weird news,
fresh views,
helpful clues, and interviews.
By students, for students.
Subscribe to our weekly show at theshortcoat.com.
Welcome back to the Shortcoat Podcast. It's the show that gives you an inside look at medical school from the students drinking from that fire hose, and I'm surrounded by them today. With me today in the SCP studio. Oh, it's a production of the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine. I forgot that part. With me today in the SCP studio, I'm surrounded by these people today. She is surely never in the wrong socially. It's MD PhD student Miranda Skeen.
You're darn right.
He makes only the best social decisions. It's M1 Chase Larson.
Hello.
Larson. Larson. She is polite, considerate, and always assumes good intent. It's M2 Rada Vellamarie.
Yes, sir.
If she's the asshole, she'll make it up to you with banana bread. It's M2 Fallon Jung.
I am not the asshole.
And I wouldn't say she's the queen of the assholes. But because of these episodes, she kind of is. It's M2 Holly Heeman.
Yeah, apparently that's me.
Yeah, you could be the princess of the assholes if you wanted. Like, if you just want to.
Well, look, if I'm going to be
lady of the
royalty in the asshole kingdom, I might as well go for the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to be like Countess of the assholes.
Countess of
The only thing worse than being queen of the assholes is being Duchess of the assholes.
Oh my God, we could have asshole Bridgerton.
Yes.
That would be really fun.
What does that even look like?
Everybody
we'll find
dresses
out.
up
You
in
don't wanna
Bridgerton
know.
costumes, but everybody has buttholes for heads.
Got it.
Or everyone just has a shitty personality. Oh,
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Before we bring out the assholes, remember, Shortcoats, that we're always excited to hear from you. Go to theshortcoat.com/tell us to give us your thought on today's or any show. Because sometimes I'm not sure I'm doing it right. And it'd be cool if I knew more about what you like and you don't like. Because basically, at heart, I am a seething cauldron of, that's what I'm looking for.
People-pleasing energy.
People-pleasing energy. Cuddle. Oh, cuddles.
I was going to say rage. I don't know what you, when I hear seething cauldron.
He's a seething cauldron of cuddles.
You're like a sweet guy.
What's
But like
what's the word I'm looking for when you're like, when you're not confident? Seething cauldron of
Insecurity.
Oh no.
Okay. That was not exactly what any of us were going for there.
Thank you so much for that.
But at least we don't think you're insecure. Because if somebody threw out
Rada
insecurity.
thinks you're rageful.
It's a bit. I
Sometimes
did
I
not
am.
mean it as like you're an angry man. No,
No.
I meant it as a, like, when you think seething cauldron, you want to hear like fancy words.
I think
like
Dave.
Anyway, Holly, you've done it again. How many assholes are there in the world? Surely I had thought that you'd found them all at this point.
No, we will never run out. But, I'm always taking suggestions too. Some people from our class have actually contributed to the Reddit stories list. So
I hope not in the
I'm
being
collecting
the
them.
subject of them. But
I love it.
Really?
I do have a suggestion, maybe an incremental improvement to the show. I've made up some signs for you to hold up. So once we've heard each clip Holly's found for us today, on one side is NTA for not the asshole, and on the other side is YTA for you're the asshole. I'll just do a 3 count after we've read, and then we can discuss our answers.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm excited.
Spirited debate.
I don't want to be the one person that's like different, Like,
No.
I've been
I-
there before. It's just everyone has a different perspective on what constitutes assholery.
And
That's true.
Yeah, and I will say that sometimes my first instinct on these things is not correct. And I need to do a little bit more. I need to do a little bit more deep thinking about it.
Precisely, yeah.
That's fair.
We'll see if that happens today. No, I guess I hope this first one isn't a disappointment. It's more of a today I fucked up rather than an am I the asshole. Do you want to say anything about this before we start?
Yeah. So, 3 of us are getting ready to start clinical rotations. And, normal people might have like nightmares about, showing up to a speech unprepared.
Oh, no.
And this is what I have in my nightmares.
Okay.
This today I fucked up.
Somebody has.
And things are like this.
Oh, no, I'm scared.
All right, here we go.
Oh, I hope I don't have new fuel for my nightmares.
I'm a medical student, and I was completing a neurology rotation. It was my last day when I peeped into the room of one particular patient. I was under the impression that this patient was unable to move, but they were somehow half off the bed. Still not sure how this happened. I called out to the nurse practitioner nearby for help. This 4-foot-tall NP is literally the backbone of this floor. The woman could probably get spinal fluid out of a rock. She is very intimidating to me, a literal weenie of the hospital. She rushes in to help me and commands,
"Push the red button."
The red button? I look around nervously.
Yes, just push it.
This red button? I motion to the only red button I see, the call code button on the wall.
Oh.
I didn't think this was that serious, but I am not one to question the goddess of the subarachnoid space, for I am but a worm. She doesn't look up as she's helping the patient.
Yes, just push it.
I hit the button. The floor siren starts going off. You can hear people start sprinting toward the room, yelling out commands in the hallway. The NP looks up, sees my scared shitless face, and starts laughing.
Not that red button. The nurse call button on the remote.
Oh, duh. I think my face is redder than either button at this point. I quickly hit the cancel button, but it was too late. People have already arrived to see me at the scene of the crime, finger only 1 inch from the button. Thankfully, everyone is laughing and joking about how they got their workout in for the day, although I'm sure they were thinking about how much of a dumbass I was. The NP was really kind about it and told everyone she misguided me. But bon voyage to any future career in neuro.
Aww. Good soundscaping.
Do you like my little audio play there?
Yeah. Also, that guy, what a writer.
Honestly, very good. Also, bless your heart. Oh my goodness. That is absolutely I guarantee everyone on the floor is just that's the easiest code we've ever had to do.
Right. This individual has spent way too much time on the internet.
Yes, correct.
Based on his
I love the storytelling aspects of it.
I thought it was great.
All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Neither.
Why?
Dave!
What the hell?
What? I'd put this one on your dean's letter, you twit.
You would not, Dave.
Insecure people listen to this podcast.
Dave.
It's an honest mistake.
You gotta know the buttons.
Not really.
Yeah, no.
I'm
twice.
I was gonna say actually, in his defense, he did know the buttons. The call code button is red. I think in our hospital it's blue.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For specifically this reason.
Yeah, they have different colors. Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable thing. Also, colorblind. So not really sure. Also, has anybody actually heard a code? I don't know why you would.
Yeah,
100%.
I've been to a code.
Does it sound like that alarm?
No. It goes beep boo beep boo beep boo. It's
hospital alarms are fun because you have to figure out how to alert staff without causing a patient panic.
Panicking everybody.
So if you say rah, someone's dying, patients are all gonna freak out. So it has to be beep boop code blue in the ER.
It's always a really calm voice.
Yeah.
I love that.
they have like a sound that goes around on like TikTok every once in a while that's like stress sounds for healthcare professionals. And it's like the IV alarm going off. Like if it's like the occluded, like if the patient like bends their arm or something.
As a patient, I've found that noise incredibly annoying.
That one's a torturous one.
Because it goes off in the middle of the night. It goes off at the slightest movement, it feels like.
They'll throw on the bed alarm that goes off as well. They'll throw on the code alarm, and they'll overlay all of them on top of each other. And they're like the sounds I hear in my nightmares. And it's like, it's actually truly torturous.
Yeah.
Like
and it's
terrible.
Just, it's all just different beeps of different like, you know, pitches and intensity.
I'm in the same boat as Dave. I actually have never heard the code signal before. So I've just... I thought that was accurate. I was wow, sounds right.
I tried to look it up and I couldn't really find anything.
I mean, I think there's I'm assuming, like, I don't know if I've ever heard the code alarm here. I've heard it in Mason City before, because that's the only time I was actually part of a code, which that one was hilarious because we had to run up like 2 flights of stairs to get to the code, and then we were like fourth in line to actually get there. But it might be different depending on the hospital you're in.
So
I think they're pretty similar.
I think they're pretty universal.
Because I've heard the one here and one at Mercy.
Okay.
Before it was not Mercy.
So you've confirmed something that I wasn't quite sure I believed, which was that when the code goes off, when the code call goes out, everybody sort of rushes to
for
the place where it goes, which makes a certain amount of sense. But also, like, at some point, there's just too many people, aren't there?
Yeah. Well, because basically, like, everyone... usually if it's like, okay, this is going to resolve with the people you have, the people at the end of the line can be like, okay, go back to your normal job. And by the way, people who have been in clinic longer, please correct me, but this was just my experience. Where it's like,
I don't think anybody's been in clinic longer.
Yeah, it's like we were so far back, and I think like pretty much everything had been stabilized by the time we got there. So it's like, we're here, we're going to hang out for 5 minutes in case they need extra hands. Otherwise, because a lot of times if you're doing like CPR or something, you want to have people swapping
multiple
out
people.
because you get tired.
For sure.
So it's basically like whoever gets there first, like, runs it, and then just people just filter in and out depending on what your skills are when you get tired. Like, yeah.
Usually the most people in the room are like all the nurses because they'll get there first because they're on the floor.
On the spot.
Yeah, I worked in the ER here for a couple years, like 4 years, and then I also worked in the OR here as well. So I've had some pretty decent experiences with like codes like this, and a lot of the time you'll get like the whole department will run over when they hear the alarm naturally because it's a big scare, and then 75% of the people will end up walking back.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, we have 10 people here already, 5 people in line to do compressions. Like, we don't need anyone else. From my experience, that is. So
I do feel badly for this young person, and because I mean, how easy would this would definitely be something.
I feel for this person, like,
it's the embarrassment.
It's the equivalent of like pulling the fire alarm and just being like, because there's nothing you can do to stop it, and you just have to be there like, I'm so sorry.
There's something at this hospital that that is a super big trap at the children's hospital. Has anyone been to the like staff only elevators at the so there's so the one side there's 2 sides to this elevator.
Yes, I have.
There's there's 3 on one side that is, I'm not sure exactly what they call them, but it's like staff and like service elevators on this side, and then on the other side is patient transport elevators, and one of those is called the Megavator. Huge elevator, like ginormous elevator. Great name, by the way. And on the like the service side, you have to scan your badge to go up to the 12th floor if you're going up there for some reason. On the other side, if you scan your badge, it calls a code blue. I'm not joking. It has a sign on there that says like scan for code blue. I don't know who designed that, but I know that there was some story about a resident like scanning their badge and then like immediately calling a code blue and everyone rushing there, and he was like, oh no, like no, I was just trying to go up to the 12th floor, like something like that.
Especially like a badge scan. I get that you don't want people accidentally calling a code, but the problem with a badge scan is that, like, at least for me, when I'm, in lab, like going into my lab, it's a completely automated response of like, I see a badge scan. Like, I've scanned my badge on badge readers. I know I can't get in just because I see a badge reader and my brain goes scan. Like, it's automatic. So I would absolutely just be like, scan,
That one,
also like if
that one
you were
terrifies
in a
me.
code situation, it's less accessible to do that too. Than to like have a button.
Yeah, the whole point of a button is that you can just like slam something against it and it'll call
and
the
then
code.
anyone can press it.
Yeah,
you know?
anyone. Yeah, you should. It's much better to accidentally call a code blue than it is to not be able to, like, oh shoot, I forgot my badge. I guess you're just gonna die now.
That one scares me though. Like every time I was training someone, like when we were going over to the children's hospital, I was like, don't touch this. Don't even look at it. Like stay away from it. Stay far away from it. It doesn't exist in your mind.
Turn left.
Turn left. Don't even look at the other side.
Heavy spatial neglect for you.
Although it is fun to take like pediatric patients in the megavator, even if they don't need to. Like in the little you're just like wheelchairing them. You're like, here's the giant elevator. They're like, whoa, it's so big.
They have a giant elevator at the St. Louis Children's Science Museum, and it's big enough that it has a couch in it. And it's amazing. It's I think it might be one of the biggest elevators in the world. But there are absolutely people that just like ride that elevator up and down.
You have unlocked a fantasy, I think, for me, which is to be rich enough to have a house with a giant. Don't look at me like that.
I think we should do an episode about
couch. I want an elevator in my mansion.
I don't think it needs to be in a particular household. I would just like all elevators to have a little couch in it.
Yeah. Just like a little chair.
That's accessibility.
I don't know. Elevators kind of give me anxiety.
There we go.
Could make like a built-in bench
Even
at least.
Another reason why to have a place you can sit down
and relax.
To deal with your anxiety.
Well, no, I'd just rather take the stairs because, like, what if the elevator falls?
Look at you being so healthy.
My untimely death.
I have never in my life ever thought I'd rather take the stairs.
No, I mean, I take elevators if it's like, I mean, sometimes I even take them from one floor to like the next floor, but like, I would not stay in an elevator for so long that I needed or wanted a couch. And also, like, I don't know, that's like a lot of extra unnecessary weight. What if there are too many people in the elevator and then you all fall to your untimely death?
The size of my kitchen.
It's huge.
Like,
they have some big
And some elevator rides
elevator.
are long. You ever gone to like the top of skyscrapers in like Chicago and New York? Some of those elevators take forever.
I didn't expect to discuss elevator logistics.
I was going to say, this has turned into an elevator episode.
But elevators can't really do what you're describing.
You can't fall to your untimely death in an elevator?
Like, you can't fall.
Yeah, there's an episode of Mythbusters where they like dropped an elevator in an elevator shaft, and it took you will die if you fall to your death in an elevator, but like it's very, very hard to make an elevator like fall that fast. Like they had to do a lot of modification to actually make the damn thing fall.
Yeah.
I hope we've helped.
Good to know. Good to
buttons
know.
don't work. Just for your knowledge.
Is that true?
That
because
is
I've
true.
suspected this for a very long time.
In any building that is ADA compliant, the buttons can't work. The closed door buttons, like it's illegal for them to work.
Why do they put them on the because the problem with that is it just gives me false hope.
Well, I think that's the reason.
I think it like is placebo, basically.
It must be.
I'm not gonna lie, you guys have like kind of cured some of my elevator
currently
anxiety.
wearing
Thank
a
you.
fidget toy. It's just the elevator equivalent of like I've just got to wait for the door to close. I need to do something that makes me feel like a participant.
I have been trapped in an elevator before.
Oh no!
I didn't fall to my death.
No,
good.
Unless your ghost is a breed of assholes.
All of a sudden it's the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it is literally because it's Tower of Terror. I'm sorry, you were gonna say something.
I'm glad you're alive.
I'm glad you're alive.
Thank you. On to story number 2.
Yeah.
So now we're back to our classic "Am I the Asshole" subreddit, and this one involves, a classic argument. I would say that health professionals have with people.
Here we go.
Interesting.
Let's hear it.
I'm a physician's assistant, and I'm obviously very pro-vaccine. Unfortunately, I grew up in a less than educated area. Religion and misinformation run high. I have a very old friend, Stacy, who lost a child coming up on 2 years now. This child died from SIDS the night after her 2-month vaccines. Sounds damning, but it's just not. It could have been anything. Naturally, Stacy fell into anti-vaxxer BS because it was just too convenient. She blames herself for not knowing better. She is constantly saying and posting crazy things. She still seems to think that vaccines are good, but thinks there should be a much higher minimum age, like school age. They've been trying for more children, and it hasn't been going well. People in our hometown say that she can't have another child because God is punishing them for their failure. While Stacy is an atheist, I do think misplaced guilt is more than getting to her. But the things she posts are crazy and dangerous,
and it's leading people to make unsafe decisions. I've been commenting on her posts with facts when I have time. I don't want to see her inadvertently cause an epidemic just because she's sad. People are telling me that I don't understand what it's like and that I'm overstepping. But even beyond the amount of guilt she's unnecessarily putting on herself, this is a public safety issue.
Is this person the asshole? 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Am
I the only
okay?
Am I the only one?
Okay.
Fallon said.
Okay, hey, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
I can see, for the record, I can see both sides. I think it depends on how the comments are being phrased.
For sure.
Yeah,
like, and what the original post was. Like, was it truly centered around the vaccines, or was it like a grieving my child kind of post?
Yeah. I mean, my response to that is similar, but like, yeah, I don't think you guys are bad for saying you're the
I'm
asshole.
obviously not like anti-vax. I don't know that Facebook is like, or like any online media is the way to deal with those issues on either side.
I think we've learned that it's really not.
Right.
I mean, it's just not. I mean, people don't seem to react to facts in the way that you want them to.
Right. I think it just adds fuel to the fire, and you're not helping your case by adding facts. And I think also it's like it hurts trust between you and your friend, so you have less of an opportunity to have a legitimate conversation with them in private where their pride isn't hurt, where they feel like you aren't like getting at their child, where other people aren't getting in on the situation. So overall, like, I just think that she's chosen a poor site to do it. People post crazy shit online all the time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
it's the type of thing where this is a hard thing because very clearly this mother has just chosen one of the worst possible ways to deal with the worst situation a parent can find themselves in, and the decision she's made is to go like deep into the conspiracy side, which is where a lot of conspiracy theorists come from, is they experience something awful and then it's like, well, it's just easier to like blame a very concrete thing than it is to just try and accept that sometimes
it's
horrible things
it's very
happen.
human. I mean, we're not really built to. I have a whole theory about this. I feel like we are basically an LLM, a large language model, pasted on top of a lizard brain.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense. True.
Yeah.
And we all we can, we do the same thing that ChatGPT does every single day. We just spout stuff that, kind of makes sense to us based on what we've been trained on, i.e. our past experience.
Yeah.
But we're not really great at reasoning in general. And if we are good at reasoning, it's because we've been trained to do it, or we've spent a lot of time, with this skill. That's my theory. I don't know if it's...
I love this take.
I don't know if it's...
I think like there's also an aspect of like everyone wants to think that things happen for a reason, right? Like the whole like just world fallacy. Like people want to think like, oh, if I do good things will happen. If I make the right choices, things will be fine.
Yeah.
But
is that
there's
the
just
just world?
like a chance element to the world.
I did hold up not the asshole, because once you take that Hippocratic oath, baby, you have to tell people that they're all, when they're doing healthy, wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Because no, I'm not. That's a complete lie. I think she's. I'll tell you what. I think this PA is the asshole.
For sure.
Because yes, I do.
So you've reversed your decision.
No, I was kidding about this. It was a bad joke, and
no, here's the thing, because that's not a joke, that's a lie. Is you just lied to me.
It is a lie. I think that she's the asshole because she's not actually giving her friend what her friend needs, and her friend is experiencing the worst kind of guilt. That you can possibly experience. The thing to intercede on in this situation, the intervention to make is to talk with this person about her experience and how it's changed her.
Yeah.
And that I think is the most important thing you can do as in this situation as a healthcare professional. I can't imagine, or as a person, I cannot imagine that she individually is doing anything to move the needle on public health.
That's kind of where I was. It's like the part of this I didn't love was when this PA was like, oh, like I'm trying to help combat the misinformation because it's a public safety issue. And it's like, you can't do that for everybody. One single person spreading more unless she is an actual public figure.
Yeah,
which
like an
sound like she
influencer of some kind.
Yeah, unless she
maybe
exposed herself an influencer.
A bigger argument there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I see. I went for NT8 mostly because I understand the impulse of this person to like. If my grieving mother friend is spending all her time on Facebook, maybe it's like the logic is like maybe this is how she's engaging with the world, and if I like come on and be like, hey, you're wrong and this is why, maybe I can like help shove her off of that a little bit and just like trying. I agree that the best way to do it would be in person, but also like
it's not always
you're not
possible.
A grief counselor. Yeah. Like this is like this is a hard thing for anyone to deal with, and maybe it's like if I could just like be there and like pushing you away from this a little bit, maybe that's how I can help.
I agree. I am confused a little about like how close they are in terms of like geography. Yeah. Because she said this friend is from her hometown, like she's a hometown friend, but she doesn't say whether she still lives there or near it.
Sure. It might, there's plenty of situations where it might be actually difficult to do any
But I mean, at least you could like do a personal call.
My whole thing is I think there's a time, a place, and a way to do it. And I think that this is not any of those.
Yeah. Agreed.
I just think asshole is kind of a strong word.
Yeah, that's where it's like, I agree that this is not the best way to handle the situation, but I'm not going to, I'm going to stand by
I don't think it's full on asshole.
Yeah, I'm going to stand by my assumption.
Fallon, I think I'm feeling what you're feeling.
I think asshole's a fine word for it, actually. Like I don't think
she's intentionally being an asshole.
No,
I will say that.
But
ultimately,
intent and like what's actually happening are two completely different things. I don't think she's intending to be an asshole by any means, but I
would like to see a little bit more empathy for
from a healthcare provider.
From a healthcare provider. I don't think it takes much to imagine why, especially since Stacey isn't really anti-vaccine. I mean, I'm not anti-vaccine, but when I had babies, I had this same impulse. Yeah. Like, oh my God, we're shoving so much
like stuff and
vaccines into these kids. How can this be good for them? Yeah. I mean, I didn't know shit from Shinola, and I still don't.
Yeah, I would be interested. I wonder if some of our decisions might be different if we actually knew the content, because I'm hearing this as a gentle, like, hey, just so you know, here's a link to like some things that refute it, where as opposed to like, hey, what you're saying is dangerous and here's why. Like, I do think the tone of the responses is a big factor here.
Absolutely.
I think if we had like the text of what the comments were, I think that would.
I feel like when we.
Leave a comment on the post. We got to come back to this next week.
I feel like when
we don't go find them.
I do feel like that when we talk about these "Am I the Asshole" posts, I feel like we do need to go based on what was submitted.
That's fair.
If only because I feel like there's always situations where the context. It's always the case that the context matters, and we're not getting the whole thing.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, if the PA was the person who made the post, there's a chance that she could have. Or he could have diluted their post down to make them sound better.
Yeah.
And I was leaning more towards the intent side. Like, oh, maybe, they intend to steer their friend back to, beliefs they could have had before. SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. It's horrifying. And it traumatizes a person. And so trying to like coax them back. But like, maybe this person was just really rude about it. And when you yourself write a Reddit post about yourself, oftentimes you are trying to make people see in your favor.
Absolutely. Which is interesting because I feel like if I wrote this Reddit post, I would have gotten to the end. I do this anyway. I've gotten to the end and deleted it. Because I would have been like, oh, I kind of look like a douche.
I feel like most Reddit posts, honestly, you'll see are people who should have, at the end of writing it, immediately been like, wow, reading this back, I'm definitely the asshole. Let's just delete it.
Can answer this myself.
I keep making
some people write it very honestly and are like, I don't even know why you have to ask this question at this point.
I would say that I delete about 90% of the posts that I write on social media these days. I'm like, why does anybody want to fucking hear from Dave about this thing?
That's not true, Dave.
I do that when I'm replying to comments sometimes where it's like, I'll type it and then like, because one thing I did learn from kind of going through conspiracy circles is like, not as a participant, but as an observer, to clarify. But it's like, there is an element of like, what is my intention here of saying this? And it's like, this is actually kind of where I'm approaching this from. It's like, because I find that sometimes people will comment like facts under anti-vax posts, not to persuade the poster, but for anyone that's looking at that post later to go like, okay, like if they say a misleading stat and then the top comment has like, here's why that stat is misleading.
I'm gonna fix.
Yeah, it's basically like a crowdsourced version of the like fact checking you see from big institutions, and that to me is where I was coming from of just like, you know, this person is being that kind of like tenuous thread of like, hey, just so you know, like when you want to come back to reality, I'm here for you. I'm still like kind of looking out, but also if anyone is looking at this, I just want to have a better fact like right there at the top.
Yeah.
And that's like, because I was thinking about that because sometimes when I'm like perusing through Reddit and I feel like I want to reply to a comment, I'll type it out and then be like, who am I typing this for? And if the answer is I'm typing it for me, then I just delete it.
Yeah.
Move on.
I think we've become too self-aware maybe for
Yeah, so it's like maybe that's where I'm coming from. It's like I do think that their intention matters as to why they're like leaving comments on this person's, because if it's just like for you to feel better about yourself, then yeah, that's a dick move. But if it's for like, if your intention is basically to like to be the thread of reality for this person to maybe come back to someday, then I stand by my judgment. And that was how I interpreted this.
And I guess also like, again, with if we could see like the actual comments and stuff, I think it would also matter what other people are saying in the comments too.
Yeah.
Like, are other people fully on board believing her and it is some like really out there conspiracy theory?
Well, I imagine that they are.
I mean,
at
think
first,
like, okay, maybe you do have more of a duty to like step in there and say something, because you can't talk to every single one of those people in person. You might not know them.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like if Stacy is in the same town that she grew up in, all of her Facebook friends are going to be from the town that she grew up in. But we
you never
can't be
know.
sure. You're right.
It's just like I don't know how much of a obviously one person can make a big difference. I'm not to say that they can't, but like I just don't know how much of a difference like one person is going to make to create like an epidemic, like this person was saying. That seems like a bit much, right?
BS
like
when they said that. It's like that's dumb.
I thought that was a bit of a stretch.
Sounds
Holly,
like she has some anxiety.
Yeah.
Holly, I really like this next one.
I do too. It's my favorite kind of Reddit post, which is petty and messy.
Yes. Oh yeah, baby.
And more unsolicited advice.
Hell yeah.
I've got two buttons that are named the same here, so I hope this works.
Get off this dark shit.
Here we go.
I recently found out on Instagram that one of my exes is pregnant with her husband.
Wait, what?
Like, I'm super happy for her and everything. Not really an axe to grind on that. The problem is that she always had a reputation, even when we were together, as a massive party girl, drinking a lot and drugs too. Even though I think that she has calmed down over the last few years, she still posts photos of her out with friends with massive cocktails and stuff. Anyway, she did this stupid post announcing her pregnancy on Instagram, and it's a photo of her and her friends sitting at a booth in a bar. She's wearing a mom-to-be top and has a giant bowl of a cocktail in front of her. Well, that was the final straw for me. I'm a doctor, and so I felt like I have an obligation to intervene when she might be putting this unborn child at risk. I sent a carefully worded message to her Instagram account saying, "Hake's name. Look, I'm so happy to see that it's worked out with you and husband. Congratulations on the pregnancy.
Oh, man.
But lol, I think I would be a bit remiss if I didn't say something about the drinking. As a doctor, I have seen firsthand the impact that alcohol can have on a developing fetus. You really should be careful with what you're putting into your body during this time." She responded by calling me an asshole and telling me to mind my own business. Now she's blocked me. I sent a similar message to her husband because maybe he can try to talk to her about the drinking, but he hasn't responded. So Reddit, I will accept your verdict. Am I the asshole for caring more about the health and well-being of an unborn child than the feelings of my ex? Update. So one of her friends just sent me this ridiculously long and angry text, basically accusing me of all these horrible things I allegedly did while I was dating my ex, calling me manipulative and a narcissist as well. Apparently that's why none of them talk to me anymore. Anyway, apparently I should have magically known that my ex has been sober for 3 years. Ever since, wait for it, one of our mutual friends from pre-med was killed by a drink driver. No idea how I was supposed to know that when everyone had decided to cut me off, and no one seemed to care that finding that out might have been really upsetting for me too. I made a new Instagram account messaged my ex to tell her that it's really irresponsible to make it look like she's drinking while pregnant, even if she isn't. Because people are impressionable and might copy that, and it makes her look like an idiot.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about the posts where people are so honest, and they really halfway through writing it should have known I'm already the asshole.
By the time you're making, just
another
blanket
Instagram
statement.
account.
If you ever find yourself making a second Instagram account to message someone who has blocked you,
especially an ex,
yeah, you're the asshole.
Like, I don't care. They could be like, I don't care what they're doing. They could be a serial killer. By that point, put the damn phone down.
The fact that they had to begin the story with, I don't care that we're broken up. I don't care anything about her.
Like, I'm not getting that vibe. I'm not getting the same vibe.
And then also said like twice, it's like, oh, I'm so happy that it worked out. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah. We're really reaching here.
I don't think he's known for being good with his words.
It's just like,
gonna point that out.
do you know that there are drinks at restaurants and bars that aren't alcoholic?
Like, this guy's never heard of a mocktail before.
Or even
really
like a lemonade.
Right. He's heard of a drink driver.
This person may be British. And I think that's
I also like was chuckling the very first sentence where it's like, is pregnant with her husband, and I'm like, I don't think so.
Look,
maybe it's like a different kind of situation.
Oh my God.
I think we've marginalized the narcissists enough, don't you think? I mean, we really need to bring them back.
We need to be as many
You know, yeah. Hey, on an unrelated note, before I forget, please make plans to vote in the upcoming elections. Go to vote.org to check your voter registration. Register if you haven't already. See who and what's on your ballot and more. Remember that medicine is politics, and let nothing stand in the way of exercising your right to vote. I don't bring this up for any particular reason. Yeah. It has nothing to do with narcissists or anything like that.
Yeah, and don't
also, if you're in the state of Iowa, you can do same-day voter registration.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, for those of you who have moved here.
Yeah, and do not forget to look up your ballot, to look up what's on the back side of the ballot, because a lot of times, like, your city and local issues can be very, very influential to how you.
Those are even more important.
I would say
those are even more important.
Like, those are almost more important than the stuff that gets national judges. So make sure you don't neglect like your city and state and local elections.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I personally feel like when I go into a new situation where I'm not really sure how to do it, I'm pretty avoidant of those things. So I can sympathize with being nervous about going. It's incredibly easy. Plus, you get to hang out with some nice little old ladies and men who
all
really
the volunteers
are really happy to see you.
Nice.
And you know, go with some friends, make a day of it.
Yeah.
Make it an outing.
Yeah, go get lunch afterward.
If you don't
maybe
have
a drink.
time, get one of those absentee.
Yeah, you can do absentee.
Yeah, you can do absentee voting.
I like the in person though, because it makes me feel like it's like official. It's
Yeah,
so
you have
official,
to.
you know. I'm
And then
like,
you get to, like,
I'm
go
doing it like I'm doing the real thing, you know. I'm going in.
in the machine and it goes like zoop, and it's like, that's my vote, baby.
That's
and
it.
Don't
forget the stickers.
But also absentee is totally good too. Absentee is totally fine too.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can do it. Do absentee.
I don't like people. No, I'm just kidding.
If you don't like people,
I just
vote by mail.
Voting by mail is just so much easier.
Yeah.
For me personally.
If you're a future pathologist, vote by mail.
Are you a future pathologist?
I never said. Okay.
You did say that. You actually did say that.
I did.
Oh my God.
Did we vilify this person enough?
Yeah, I don't think there's any. Honestly,
Herself,
like, good for this
truly.
girl for breaking up with him.
I know.
Yeah, seriously.
Solid decision
yeah.
there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There's
And
a
good for her
Move
for
on,
being
man.
sober.
Move on.
Truly just move on.
Yeah. And congratulations on the baby.
I'd love the classic narcissist move of like, oh, she is sober. Well, I'm going to tell you reasons why you're still bad.
Yes. Like how would you? How do you expect me to know that?
You
Or like,
douchebag.
So now I
that
just
could have hurt
changed
my
my
feelings too.
Yeah,
Like,
I loved
man,
the bit of
okay.
like, how is like they should have known that I wouldn't know that because they stopped talking to me. It's like, this is not about you, sir.
Like, I can see why they stopped talking to you.
It's like this is
a
a
real
guy
mystery.
that was given multiple chances,
You know
failed
what's-
them, and is now confused why no one wants to be his friend.
Yeah.
You know what
There's
doesn't really
nothing
matter.
left to say.
Yeah.
He sucks.
All right, let's
Okay,
go
let's
on.
move on.
Let's move on to the next one.
Okay, so the next one is also messy and petty, and I love it. Actually, I wouldn't say it's super petty, but it is very messy. And another relationship drama situation. So let's get into it.
It's unseemly how
heart
excited.
is just beat a
It's
beat bop
unseemly how
bopping.
excited Miranda is.
Well, here's the thing. thing. I don't.
And Holly.
I'm terrible at relationships. So when I get the chance to judge bad ones, it feels refreshing. Because when my friends are in good ones, I'm just like, I don't. What? What do you mean?
You're like, I'll never be this bad.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a good girlfriend, but I'm not this bad.
All right, here we go.
My 35-year-old boyfriend has a Facebook page that advertises his products and service as a doctor for healing with essential oils and natural plant extracts. He's been doing this for 15 years and thinks that he's a doctor, like a certified doctor, although he's never attended medical school nor has a degree or specialty. He always gets upset when I correct him and tell people he's not a certified doctor. He made it clear to not get involved in his job and thinks I'm actually an ignorant. The thing is, he writes and types doctor name when he deals with customers or patients. Last week, someone contacted him on Facebook but couldn't get a response, so he contacted me because I was mentioned on his profile. He asked if Dr. Name was available. I corrected him and said that my boyfriend is not a doctor, and no, he won't be available till Monday, and I just forgot about it. My boyfriend was checking his page this morning, and he came into the kitchen with his laptop, yelling at me for correcting a client of his who he knew for months and telling them that he wasn't a doctor. He told me I had no business snooping on his public page and trying to ruin his business and reputation out of jealousy, clearly. I ignored him, but he threw a temper tantrum, telling me for the last time to mind my own business. I told him that it's the truth and that what he was doing is wrong, lying by saying Dr. O when he doesn't have a degree, and that eventually he'll get into trouble and his job will be ruined. He said he's been doing it for 15 years, and the only way his job will get ruined is if I keep trying to get involved. He lectured me for about 30 minutes, then went out. I felt bad for upsetting him like that. I do feel like I was an asshole for constantly doing this, but it really looks like he shouldn't be making people think he's a doctor. Was I an asshole? I gotta admit, I'm ignorant when it comes to this stuff. But I do know that to be a doctor, you have to get a degree of some
Bare
sort.
minimum, yeah.
Them honey.
Not the asshole for this. Leave him, baby.
He's
Leave
the
him.
asshole for sure.
Leave him, baby.
Yeah, they do not belong
Get out
together.
of here, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine.
She's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I've said it before on the show.
She's pointing out a literal crime.
I'm holding up a red flag. I've covered up YT on my side. I'm holding up a red flag.
That's for me.
This is a red flag
For Dave.
you. Everybody leave him,
I've
bitch.
said it before on the show. I'll say it again. We cannot be gatekeeping the title of doctor. DNPs, AUDs, PhDs, essential oil salesmen.
Snake oil.
They've all done the work. They all deserve to be called doctor.
Oh my God. So I don't think he would be that, like, his business would do so much more poorly if he didn't have doctor in front of his name.
Yeah.
Because people who use, like, what is it, like homeopathy?
Yeah.
Like other forms of medicine are going to find him, and because they're actively seeking ways to, like, my mom believes in essential oils. Like, you know, everyone has their own beliefs and stuff, and they will find you and they will take your advice.
And
Here's my
honestly,
question.
they probably like you less for being a doctor, because if they're looking for alternatives, they don't want someone in Western medicine, I would think.
Here's my question. So we have said today that you usually get a degree to be a doctor. You usually get a degree from an accredited institution.
Usually, that's usually how it works.
Case.
But what if?
Oh no.
What if I were to launch a essential oil college or essentially college of essential oil
College of
healthcare?
Essential Oils,
They
like
would
the
be-
University of
and
Iowa.
then get accredited by
Who?
By someone, sure.
my loving wife who supports everything that I do and doesn't snoop on my Facebook page and try to ruin my career.
Snoop on your public Facebook page.
So she accredits me. You know, if she's an accrediting body.
Yeah.
And does that make me a doctor?
As long as you don't get sued.
Yeah,
Well, like,
I mean, like,
here's the thing though.
I'm
like,
totally. I'm not this stupid, you guys.
The fake doctorates as a whole, like, we'll be here all day if we want to go through it. Like, because there's people that have like doctorates in like hypnotherapy.
Sure.
From like, you know, there's like, the only one I know of is from a Folding Ideas video. The only one I know of is like the University of Vanuatu, which is a correspondence school, which is like, it's technically a university, but the only thing they give out is like mail-in doctoral degrees. So it's like anybody can print out a piece of paper that says they have a PhD, right? Like if you don't get it from somewhere that actually has a PhD program, you can just print out a thing.
I'm a pastor.
I think it's okay.
You are.
I'm a
less
pastor
about,
in
like,
Massachusetts.
The title
so.
of doctor, and more about like what you're saying you're capable of.
Yeah.
Because like PhDs of any kind, like an English PhD, they can call themselves doctor all they want. They got a PhD. They earned that.
The essential thing that you need to have as a doctor of essential oils is like is like a covered wagon.
Yeah.
And
right.
And like a little platform to stand on to be like, get around, everybody. Let me show you these elixirs.
Automatically get an accent from like the 1950s.
Yeah.
Like so good.
And then
you look sickly.
You have to miraculously disappear the next day when they come back looking for you.
Where's Perez?
Now you're a scam artist.
You kind of sound like Yosemite Sam or that guy from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You know
Sounds like we could start a musical about this.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think Dave would
whoever
be a good
this
elixir
is,
salesman.
Yeah.
whoever this is, like, sweetheart, you
Yeah.
need to leave your scam of a boyfriend.
He's done. I hope you haven't been with him for 15 years.
Right. Are you an asshole for staying with him for so long?
I was gonna say like a 30-minute lecture and you didn't like break up. I think it said it was boyfriend.
I've broken up with people after 5-minute lectures. Really.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dave.
It's like I'm so well. Also, like this guy's clear. This is the most insecure man I think I've ever heard of in my life, and I've heard of many. But like the gall to be like, you're snooping on my public Facebook and you're telling people that I'm not a doctor when I'm not a doctor, but that's my title for my job. It's like,
how
my
dare
God,
you?
like, what do you have anything else in your life of value? Because it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
Also,
that's all she's doing.
Also,
I know. I would be
one
like,
of the patient like reached the patient also reached out to her like individually. So it's not like she wasn't even
odd.
Which please don't do that. For anyone listening out there, don't do that, please. That's incredibly strange.
And the saint of a woman to be like, yeah, this is creepy, but also like, yeah, just so you know, here's some information, and he'll be back in on Monday. It's like, what an absolute angel of a woman.
Dave, could you imagine if
crazy.
a listener like couldn't get a hold of you and then found Christine? It's like, hey, I really need to talk to you. Can you please like give him what I want to talk about on the
I would be very nervous.
Yeah, seriously.
That's
about that situation.
That's true stalker behavior.
Yeah. Well, he's the asshole in both situations. But
he's the asshole and this weird patient.
Yeah,
also
the patient
broken some boundaries.
Yeah, real boundaries. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, should we do the last one, Holly?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
my favorite Reddit stories are the ones where all the comments are just dump him.
Dump him.
Okay, so this last one is another relationship one because we love that. And this one is, once you are a doctor, what do you have to stay a doctor?
Oh,
I think probably no.
All right, here we go.
This is going to be a weird post, but hear me out.
we will.
My husband went to medical school and became a
made it
GP.
British.
He works full-time and has always been passionate about medicine and helping people.
Aww.
A few weeks ago, though, I found him watching a lot of those fast food workers' POV videos on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. It's when someone working in fast food straps on a headcam and just does their job, I guess.
I'm familiar.
The first few times I saw this, I didn't think much of it, but at some point I caught him binge watching those videos multiple times on the same day and for hours on end. When I asked him why he's so obsessed, he told me that he's been strongly urging to go part-time on his current job and part-time in fast food, more specifically McDonald's. In fact, he was 99% sure that that's what he wanted to do. His ultimate dream is to own his own McDonald's franchise one day, and combining that along with his current job as a GP. I found it a bit strange, as up to now, he's never shown signs of being passionate about working fast food or anything. So my next thought was that maybe something was up with his current job. Maybe he felt burnt out, or maybe he gets treated badly at his workplace. But every time I've tried to sit him down, he just insists that there's nothing wrong with his current job, and that he wants to combine multiple different passions of his. In fact, he's starting to get annoyed that I'm skeptical and is accusing me of not being supportive. Am I the asshole? Disclaimer. In no way am I saying that McDonald's workers deserve less respect than physicians, but it's just that I've grown up working minimum wage jobs, and I know that 99.99% of the people there aren't working out of passion, more so of necessity. So I'm a bit confused. Also, there's no financial factor at play. Both of us have good-paying jobs, so if any of us were to take a big pay cut, it wouldn't drastically affect us.
Let the man cook. And also, if my name was R. McDonald, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know if you made that up. If my name was R. McDonald,
funny.
MD, that would
then
be
you
my
kind of
life
have to go to
goal.
McDonald's.
That was good.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, go. We've been really adhering to
I'm
this.
like kind of half and half.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
I'm like
I kind of think no one's the asshole.
I'm kind of thinking, no
It
assholes
just sounds
here.
like maybe they need to communicate better.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that something might be wrong. That to me, so I'm like, if for whatever reason that actually is his passion, like, I'd say, like, fine, try it out. Try it out before you go part-time on your
Yeah,
job.
absolutely.
Before you make
If
a
you,
big decision.
I know that's kind of hard. It's kind of like a hard thing to do, but I thought the same thing.
There's nothing. I would also say though that there's nothing that would prevent a doctor from, cutting back their hours so that they can try this thing out that they want to do. And if they're like, it turns out it's not for me, they can pretty much go back to being a full-time physician.
It's a kind of thing where it's like, I do have sympathy for this. It's like, I'm in grad school. Everyone who's ever been in a PhD program in their 3rd or 4th year, my backup plan for a long time has been like, if I drop off the face of the earth one day, you'll find me on like a horse ranch in Wyoming.
Fair.
We all have our backup plan, and we all have like
Our
days or weeks or months
fantasy
where
of
it's
what we could do besides what we're doing
we
right
all
now.
have our days or weeks or months of just like, I'm that close, just that close. And to me, I'm trying to, with the disclaimer that I'm obviously trying to diagnose someone on the internet I've never met through a secondhand story, but that was kind of how I was reading this, was just like, it sounds like, he might like his job, enjoy being a doctor, enjoy being a GP, but it's just starting to get like, he's getting maybe not even burned out, but just like bored or tired, or it's getting monotonous and just like something to shake it up. I do sympathize with the girlfriend though, that this is
It's a little weird.
It's an odd choice. And just to be sure that it's
she
like, you're not going to like
explicitly asked him, like, is there something wrong with your job now? Like, can we talk about this? And he was like adamant that nothing was wrong with his job.
Also,
and I think that's that's a little weird.
Well, it's like, and nothing has to be wrong, because it's like nothing might be wrong with it, but it's like I'm just getting like bored of it and tired. Yeah,
that's true. But I feel like he just needs to say that if that's the case.
Yeah. I've never been a doctor. I really don't know what it's like to
sell
work
snake
full-time.
oil?
I don't sell. I mean, maybe
Not
that could be
officially.
my passion. I'll be like,
Is there
Christine.
gonna be a short coat merch next year?
Essential
Dave
oils.
Adler oil.
Don't let the bastards get you down.
I squeezed these oils from the tears of med students.
I would love if you gave that out at orientation next year.
I wiped this off all of the med students' faces.
Their brows.
In the shower.
That
It's a very different story.
Some ethical issues.
Fallon, I've yet to be canceled, but I feel like
Dave, please stay out of the shower.
where was I going?
Sorry.
You're not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor, but I can see. Yeah,
Just a creeper.
I'm here for your exudates. Chase, please.
Let me see those
Okay, in
uppercut
this situation, Dave is the asshole.
Dave is the asshole.
Yeah, I can't really speak to how bored you can become as a doctor. I'm sure it happens. I mean, there's only so many knee replacements that you can do before you're like, okay, I got this. I will say that there is a never-ending, I think in a lot of situations, there's a never-ending supply of ways to vary your job more.
Yeah.
And in physicianhood, that's actually physicianhood. What the fuck? If you're a physician, there are many, many, many opportunities to do that.
Physicianhood. That's right.
In physicianhood, there are many opportunities to do that. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I do understand the inclination of just like, even if it's an odd decision, let me just like test the grass on that side of the fence. And I do like the suggestion that someone, like I think 3 people said earlier, of just like, hey, nothing wrong with just like taking a month, you know.
Yeah, sure.
I think as long as you're not fully quitting your job, burning bridges, try it out if you want.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was coming from with the NTA, where it's like, I feel like the role of the supportive partner in this case is to make sure that like you're not going to wreck anything at the job that you like and are good at by doing this. Where it's like, you can do it. I'm here for you, but I do want to make sure you've got that pathway back because I know from experience that this job isn't fun.
And it also just sounds like a lot of what she's been doing is just been like asking questions, and he gets angry at that. And I don't think she's an asshole for wanting to understand why he wants to do this.
I think he's getting angry though because the questions continue. Like,
well, if he would answer the questions, then they wouldn't continue.
Chase, were you going to say something?
No, I mean, I was just, I mostly agree here.
Okay.
Like, I understand where he's coming from though, because I do like to watch those videos sometimes.
I do this, and it makes me, six figures, and I'm like, well, I'd like to make six figures doing that thing that I absolutely know you don't make six figures at, you douchebag.
Rolling
ice cream. I have recently taken up bookbinding.
Bookbinding.
Oh, so
bone binding.
Everyone always just makes it look so fun, but then when you actually do it, it's never actually that fun.
That is incredibly true.
Because I've personally worked in fast food. I only worked there for a month because I hated it so much. It was at Chick-fil-A in high school, which I still eat their food because it's still delicious. But I would never work there because I hated it.
Yeah.
But even still, I find myself being like, oh, he makes that Subway sandwich look so fun to make. Like, or like the Jersey Mike's when they're sitting there like slicing all the meats and they're just like throwing it on the sandwich. I'm like, this looks so
Chase has been
fun.
Chase has clearly been down this.
I've been down this rabbit hole.
Your pleasure.
Yeah. Like any job, hobby, everything looks fun when you're seeing it slightly sped up for 2 minutes at a time.
Totally
in a
key. Very
satisfying
important.
manner. Yeah. Like everything looks, you can make anything look
Contrast
good.
enhanced.
Contrast enhanced. You smoothen out the motion a little bit. So everything looks really nice. It's like,
I cut out the bit where my boss yelled at me for an hour.
Or the customer
because,
like screaming at you because you threw banana peppers on their sandwich. Like, okay, sorry, I'll remake it.
When you blended somebody's sandwich by accident, just a little stuff.
Just everything is good until you get into the thick of it. Yeah.
Except watching a knee replacement surgery.
Oh, God.
Oh.
I did try.
I've never seen a knee replacement.
Are you saying that it's bad the whole time? Or
I hate it.
Oh, I love it. I'm sorry. I'm kind of an ortho bro.
I could never be an ortho person.
I'm kind of an ortho bro, guys.
It's okay, Chase. We love you.
They're
anyway.
fun. I've done some hips. I've done some knees.
They're willing to do that.
The only part that is a little bit sketch is when they're doing a hip and then they pop it out. That's the sketchy part.
See, I like that. I like surgery. See, like I've been in a neurosurgery and that was awful. But I've never been in ortho, but I do understand the appeal of just like surgery where you just like really get in there with the big tools.
They'll be like hammering stuff in and it like splashes back out at you.
Oh my God.
Why wouldn't you?
You have hoods on. You have hoods on though.
Yeah,
so it's fun.
Maybe you should just, I don't know.
I love it. I love it. And I hate myself for it.
It's like less of a biohazard construction,
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. I don't know.
It's like construction, but for a human.
Yeah, but you could like build
like
something
bone construction.
that you can
It's
see
fun.
and like live in.
I did for a time.
Bones.
Bones, Fallon.
Yeah.
I did for a time sell myself on Fiverr as a graphic designer.
Oh God, I was not sure what you're doing. Sell myself.
You were in the shower first?
No, I was not in the shower.
Selling himself?
As a graphic designer, and I very quickly realized that the worst part of graphic design is not the graphic design; it's the clients. And I was just like, I won't be able to do. I made a few bucks, but in the end, I was like, I can't stand you people out there.
No,
whoa.
This was
Not you, sorry.
Specifically Rada when she was asking for graphic design.
I've never asked you for graphic design.
True.
Yeah. Well, this was the exact reason where it's like I got
and
very
you're kind of a bitch
not with her first Instagram account.
I got very into. I feel like I've definitely discussed this on this podcast before, but I got very into soap making during the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
And I give it to people, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, why don't you?" Because soaps are one of those things that get sold at farmers markets all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
And I have people like, oh my gosh, you should totally like sell this as a side business. And I'm like, no, I make like 10 bars at a time. I give them to people I like so they can have nice soap. If I start making and selling them, not only do I have to massively ramp up the time I put into it, but also then it becomes a job. And I don't do it because it's a job. I do it because swirly soap bits are fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you
That's
just
what I
do
learned.
the bars, or do you do like fun shapes and stuff?
I don't do fun shapes, mostly because you have to buy molds
Yeah.
to do that, and I don't feel like buying molds.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of soap making videos.
Yeah.
So
Royalty Soaps is my
Oh my gosh,
OG.
yes, love her.
Yeah. She taught me how to soap make. I owe her a lot.
So what you've done here is you've basically done what I did here in my job. Like nobody asked me to podcast. Nobody asked me to graphic design. Nobody asked me to make, well, people are now asking me to make videos and stuff like that, which is cool.
Study techniques.
But the point is like, I just started doing these things and everybody was like, oh, cool. This is useful and helpful. And also I'm not going to come back and say, yeah, but could you make it pop?
Yes.
Like, fuck you.
Dave, I feel like you have a very specific person that you're thinking of. Like you did like one or two people, and one of them was like just terrible, and you're like thinking back on it. You're like,
to paraphrase,
this
like,
The
person,
terrible people
this
will
person.
take up 90% of your time.
That's true. That's very
to
true.
paraphrase, as we were talking about voting earlier, to paraphrase something from a presidential debate, this former president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, take that out. Apparently that meme is stale. Never mind.
That's all right.
Edit that out.
Anyway, the point is, yeah, as soon as you start making it, as soon as people start having opinions about your work,
Yeah.
that's where it becomes
Even when
problem.
it is part of your job, like you're doing it because it's like people have been like, hey, could you do me like a favor, do this? And then it's like, you get a lot more creative freedom than it's like someone coming to be like, hey, make this and I'm going to pay you. Because then they feel like they have control over it.
and they feel like
Absolutely,
entitled
yeah.
because they're paying you.
Yeah.
Versus like
Which, in
People are so
fairness,
entitled.
In a commission situation, that is what you sign up for. Like, it's not the customer feeling entitled. Like,
Yeah, that's why I
they're
stopped
paying-
doing
I
it
mean,
because I'm like,
sometimes it is they're feeling a little entitled.
a
When you
little
go
bit.
excess, you're being entitled.
Entitled customers do exist, but like if I'm paying a graphic designer and they come back at me with a design I don't love, I am going to send it back and ask for, like, I'm not going to be a dick about it and be like, oh, this looks awful, you did, but just I'm going to send it back and be like, hey, would you mind making these edits or like these little things?
I think the problem also becomes when you try to set limits, like, okay, I will do 2 revisions. Or whatever limit you set up, and then they're like, yeah, but just one more. And then you start trying to enforce those limits, and then they become jerks.
Yeah.
I want to bring it back to our lovely Reddit post. I'm not digressing, but I just really, I'm
You're actually regressing, which is what's called for in this situation.
I just want to give our Reddit post person, even though they won't listen to this, maybe
Maybe they will.
I
You
want to
never
give
know.
them a little advice. I think what they could do is maybe try to make McDonald's burgers and fries and like all the stuff that you can make at McDonald's, make that into like a date night and like cook at home, and then try to see if you could make a little date out of it. See if he still likes like make sure he likes cooking. You know,
that's actually a good point.
step one. And if he's like super into it, then encourage him maybe like part time. Make sure he doesn't lose his job. Make sure he maintains his job, and then like try it out. He'll quit eventually. I mean, there's
Why don't
high
you be?
turnover.
I would do it like this. Be like, honey, I totally support your goal here. I think it's amazing. I think to really make it happen, you need to make me hamburgers and fries for the next year, every single day.
12 times a day.
12 times a day.
Dave, I don't think that's healthy. Dave, I don't think that's healthy.
Really,
My
you need to make
professional
our
opinion.
neighborhood, everybody in our neighborhood, burgers and fries.
She gets an Instagram message. It's like, listen, honey, I don't think it's very healthy.
You should really watch what you're putting in your body. On the other hand, you can set up a practice next door to the McDonald's as a way to recruit patients whose tummies don't feel so good.
My brothers.
He's recruiting.
No, that's actually, we've uncovered the secret plan. It's not that he has a passion for McDonald's. He's scrolling through the going like,
he's like,
Look at all these potential patients.
People are very sick.
When we were all little, my brothers had this business plan where they were going to open up a candy shop and a dentist.
Yes.
Absolutely.
He used to open up his general practice right
capitalist
next to a
mindset.
McDonald's, make sure there's an elevator in it, make sure there's
With a couch.
fake
With a couch,
alcoholic drinks so you can
Yeah.
drink people.
Yep.
And then he'll have the perfect story. I don't
Perfect.
remember what the other Reddit story was.
Look, I'm gonna say NTA. Don't baby your spouse. Tell him his dreams don't matter. That his fantasies are delusions. That his energies are best spent doing only what he wanted to do when he was asked in first grade.
Honesty
What he
is the
wanted to
best
be when he grew up.
policy.
This is what the best spouses do for their
Honesty
partners.
for
Really.
days.
You know,
no
a
longer feel
couple of those things I would say are true. As a whole, I would say you're being a little much.
Yeah, chill a little, Dave.
Yeah.
I feel like my wife would definitely be like, "Shut up, Dave." Not because she's mean or anything like that, because she's fucking right.
Is everything okay at home, Dave?
Actually, I think there is another like on the back of that. It might not be a bad idea to be like, okay, honey, I absolutely support it. Maybe wait like a month if this is still your dream in a month.
I was gonna say
we'll revisit it.
I was going to say the best.
I mean, you'd have to put in notice anyway, so it's like,
Yeah.
let's just.
The best technique is to be like, "Oh, that sounds great," and then never mention it again.
Do not bring it up.
Because at some point the algorithm is going to whisk him away from
Yeah.
That's true.
this hole that he's found himself
Again,
in.
as
Back
long
to the
as you
Sabrina
keep him
Carpenter
from making
videos.
like really horrific
a pop star.
decisions.
Well, that's our show. Holly, as always, thanks for bringing these gems to us.
You are
Thank you
the
for the
queen.
asshole.
All hail queen.
Yes, thank you, Queen
We have so
Asshole.
much more on our list still, so not ending anytime soon.
So many more assholes.
Yeah.
You, not the
Yeah, for sure.
And not the asshole.
I am just the queen of them.
And Fallon, Chase, Rada, Miranda, thanks for joining us today.
Any day.
And what kind of chocolate starfish would I be if I didn't thank you, Short Coats, for making us part of your week? Is that like an insult? I know it's a fish song, but it also refers to an asshole.
Oh, I
Doesn't
didn't know it was a song.
Does it not?
I caught none of those references.
I didn't either. I was
I
just
caught
like,
neither the song nor
I was
the
just
asshole.
like, that's
I was
an interesting
What's
thing
a
to
chocolate
say.
fish starfish?
Chocolate starfish. It's an asshole.
Yeah, it's a fun.
I mean, that makes sense. I guess.
I'm sorry. One more time.
If you're new and you like what you heard today, follow the show wherever fine podcasts are available, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. The show is made possible by a generous donation by Carver College of Medicine student government and ongoing support from the Writing and Humanities program, something which Camille may now be regretting. Our music is by Dr. Voss and Catmosphere. I'm Dave Etler saying, don't let the bastards get you down. Don't do it. Talk to you in 1 week. Hi, Short Coats. Look, life in medical education, life in America, life in the world is often difficult. And I often wish I could help. All I have is this podcast, but in my wildest dreams, you have the support you need to lead a life of your choosing. You deserve to be happy, healthy, and successful in whatever ways you define those words. So if you need support because you've experienced racism, discrimination, harassment, mental health crises, I want you to be able to get the help that you need. And so I'm going to put some links in the show notes to some resources that you can use. But the bottom line is that for what it's worth, I see you. I know you're out there. I wish I could do more. Maybe I can in ways that I don't understand yet or know about. But I see you, and I'm glad you're here, and other people are too. This Short Code podcast is a proud member of the MedEd Media Network. Inspiration, information, and guidance on your journey to medical school and beyond at mededmedia.com.